Hello, I am Scout Finch. When I was little, life in Maycomb was peaceful and simple. I grew up with my brother Jem and my best friend Dill, a boy from the city who always brought exciting adventure stories. We often played all around the town, but there was one place we always felt both curious and afraid of: the house of Mr. Boo Radley at the end of the street. Mr. Boo was a very mysterious person. Everyone in town told strange stories about him, that he was an eccentric man who never left his house and might do scary things. But to us, he was like a character from a fairy tale, full of mystery and fascination. We often gathered near the fence of his house, looking into the dark windows, trying to figure out what he looked like and whether he was really as frightening as the rumors said. Once, we even tried to slip a note inside the house through a crack in the door, hoping to get a response from him. But nothing happened, only silence surrounded us. Then one day, while playing near the big oak tree outside Boo's house, Jem discovered a small box hidden in a hole in the tree trunk. Inside were little gifts, some candies, a doll made of sticks, and an old coin. We didn't know who left those gifts there, but gradually we realized it was a sign from Mr. Boo Radley. He wasn't the bad person we thought he was. Those gifts were like a message, showing that he cared and watched over us quietly, even though he never appeared in front of us. From then on, our curiosity about Mr. Boo changed from fear to admiration and a desire to understand the real person behind the rumors. My childhood was tied to days of exploration, learning, and slowly realizing that the world is not only about clear-cut things, but also full of mysteries and differences that deserve understanding. After sharing about my childhood and curiosity about Mr. Boo Radley, I want to talk about my father, Atticus Finch. He is a lawyer living in Maycomb, a gentle, intelligent, and very fair man. Atticus always taught us that everyone deserves to be treated fairly, no matter how different they are or how society judges them. He often said, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." One of the most important lessons Atticus taught me was about justice and courage. When he took on the defense of Tom Robinson, a black man wrongly accused, our whole family knew it would be a great challenge. Maycomb was a town where racial discrimination was still very strong, and Atticus standing up for Tom made him a target of criticism and hostility from many people in town. However, Atticus never gave up his principles. He taught us that sometimes courage is not about fighting or winning, but doing what is right, even when you know it will be difficult. When we went to school, many friends and adults in town began treating the Finch family differently. But Atticus always kept his faith in justice and truth. Those days helped me understand that the world is not always fair, but each person can choose how to behave to help make the world a better place. I remember evenings when the whole family sat together, Atticus reading law books and explaining to us the importance of law and fairness in society. Those lessons taught me not only about the law, but also about treating everyone with kindness and respect. Through these experiences, I gradually realized that life is not just about children's games, but also about great challenges that require maturity and deep understanding of people. The trial of Tom Robinson was one of the most important events I have ever witnessed. It not only changed our family's life, but also exposed the deep injustices in Maycomb society. Tom Robinson was accused of raping a white woman, Mayella Ewell. But Atticus, my father, believed Tom was innocent and was determined to defend him with all his ability and conscience. The trial took place in Maycomb's small courtroom, where all eyes were on Tom and Atticus. Testimonies and evidence were presented, and Atticus proved that the accusations against Tom were based on prejudice and lies. Atticus pointed out that Tom's right arm was injured, making it impossible for him to commit the act he was accused of. He also exposed contradictions in Mayella's and her father's testimonies. Despite this, racial discrimination was too deeply rooted in the minds of many Maycomb residents. They could not see the truth fairly just because of Tom's skin color. The verdict was heartbreaking for Jem and me. Tom was found guilty, even though the evidence clearly showed he was innocent. This revealed how deeply injustice and prejudice had penetrated society. However, Atticus kept his belief that justice would ultimately prevail. and he taught us to always fight for what is right, no matter how hard the path. The trial also made me realize that true courage is not physical strength, but the steadfastness to uphold conscience and belief in justice. After the trial, Tom Robinson tried to escape from prison and was shot dead. His death left me with deep sorrow and a lesson about the cruelty of the world. Yet, the story of Tom and Atticus remains an inspiration for me and many others to continue fighting for justice and human rights. After the Tom Robinson trial, our family's life was never the same. Hostility and prejudice from some townspeople still lingered, but we learned to face and overcome them. Jem began to understand more about the complexity of the adult world, where justice is not always served and right things are sometimes overlooked. As for me, through those experiences, I learned that growing up is not just about physical growth, but also about expanding the heart and mind to understand and empathize with others. Atticus remains a shining example of perseverance and compassion. He teaches us that even though life is full of injustice, we must keep faith in humanity and fairness. One of the deepest lessons I remember is when Atticus said, "You never really understand a person until you see things from their point of view." This made me try to see people with understanding rather than judgment. We also gradually realized that Mr. Boo Radley, whom we once feared and misunderstood, was actually a kind and compassionate person. From this, I learned never to judge others by their appearance or rumors. Life in Maycomb still holds many challenges, but lessons about tolerance, justice, and love have helped us grow stronger and wiser. I believe that each of us can contribute to making the world a better place by living sincerely, fairly, and with love. The story of Tom Robinson and the days in Maycomb left me with unforgettable memories. Through all the trials and sorrows, I realized life is not always fair, but we can choose how to respond. Atticus taught me that courage is not the absence of fear, but standing up for what is right despite fear. That has become my life's guiding principle. I also understand that empathy and kindness are keys to bring down prejudice and building a better society. Everyone has their own story, and only when we listen and empathize can the world change. My life and family story is not just about a trial or a small town, but a symbol of humanity's relentless struggle for justice and love. I hope our story inspires those facing challenges to know that no matter how dark the world may be, the light of truth and goodness always exists. And finally, I believe each of us can be the hero in our own story by living honestly, fairly, and with love.